Welcome to the part 2 of Know Your Risk video. In our previous video, we learned about systematic and unsystematic risk, interest rate risk, trade risk, volatility risk, and financial or liquidity risk. And now let us look at other few important kinds of risk. Now, political risk can be of various types. It can be a geopolitical risk also, which could suffer from political changes or instability in a country. If you remember, in the past, Walmart stores outlined certain political risk with foreign suppliers, and they mentioned Brazil specifically and the complexity of its federal, state, and the local laws. Very critical to investors, and it is very critical to consider when investing in less developed nations. Now, there are a lot of factors such as political instability which can really affect investments in a given country. Let's take example. Venezuela is a very high risk market for foreign investors. There's hyperinflation, lot of corruption, huge barriers on foreign participants in many sectors. Now, that is the reason why country had defaulted on their sovereign debt payments. Now, these are the criteria which are becoming increasingly popular for investors to evaluate companies they might want to invest in. The environment criteria considers how a company performs as a steward of nature. The social criteria examine how it manages relationships with employees, suppliers, customers, and the communities where it operates. While the governance deals with a company's leadership, executive pay, audit, internal controls, shareholder rights. How important the ESG risk is to consider. Let's take example. We all know about British Petroleum, and this is an environmental example. In 2015, a group of shareholders, they called for enhanced reporting on British Petroleum's climate change management. Later, BP published its new strategy titled Advancing the Energy Transition, which described its plan to transition to a low carbon economy. So you can see that how these changes can impact the very structure of the company. Now, this is the risk which is associated with ineffective or destructive management. The directors of the publicly traded companies, they are obligated to their shareholders, and they must act in the best interest of the shareholders when making financial decisions. Now, we have seen some very bad examples back in the past. There are a lot of corporate scandals where we have seen the managers acted in a manner that eventually bankrupted the companies and destroyed the shareholder wealth. Talk about companies like Enron or WorldCom, Tyco, Xerox, all such companies. Now, when you hold a position overnight, there's a risk that the market can have a gap or jump a significant amount in price, up or down on the open of the next session. This price gap can either benefit your position or it can cause a significant drop in the account value. If you remember back in 2018, in spite of a brilliant earnings result, Biogen's stock plummeted during the after hours and opened to $230 per share from $320. This was a big gap down, and it was a very important lesson for the traders. Legal risk is the likelihood of financial or reputational loss resulting from a lack of knowledge or misunderstanding. The very recent example has been Ernst & Young had been criticized for its repeated failures to spot problems at Wirecard, and it faced a number of investors' lawsuits over the scandal. Margin in trading is the deposit required to open and maintain a leverage position using products such as CFDs. Now, when trading on margin, you will get full market exposure by putting up just a fraction of a trade's total value. While you could make a potential profit if the market moves in your favor, you could just as easily make significant loss if the trade moves against you and you don't have adequate risk management in place. So what do we know and what did we learn? We know how many kinds of risk are involved in an investment, and what did we learn? That we need to have proper risk management for our investments. Talk to your consultants, talk to your experts, and protect your portfolio against any of these risks described. My name is Yogesh. Once again, thank you so much.